Listen, I just can't wait anymore. I gotta get started. I mean, I'm just so excited. Welcome back to Outside, Inside, Outside Racing. I'm Ian, and this is my 1972 Celica. We call him Dale. Today I'm going to attempt to install a warning/buzzer light for oil pressure so I can avoid the consequences of my own mistakes. This little guy triggers below 5 psi and sends a ground signal to smack me in the face with a screaming red light and a buzzer. No subtlety, no delay. So I guess let's head over to the bench and take a look at what it's going to take to plumb and wire it in. So here's everything that I have gotten. Most of this can be procured from Amazon or, tools that you might have in your own toolbox. First up is the T fitting adapter thing. I mean, look, T-E-E is how you spell it. Look that up. I got it from Amazon. It lets me plumb in both the original oil pressure sender and the new switch without deleting anything. It's British pipe thread, which is what these old Toyotas take on the male side and on the female side, and that way I can plug in the original oil pressure sender and still use my gauge along with the hole that's on the side that will let me plumb in the new switch. The switch is a standard 5 to 8 psi oil switch. It's going to be like a basic Chevy oil pressure light switch, and it's got a 1/8 NPT fitting on it that'll slot into the side of that Evil Energy adapter that we bought. And what it's going to do is close its circuit whenever the oil pressure drops below 5 psi. So when we turn the car on, probably going to get the buzzer and the light, which is fine for a second. And then it should pump up to normal operating pressure, and then we won't hear it anymore. And then if it drops down again, bye-bye, give us the business. And then finally is this light and buzzer combo that I also got from Amazon. It's kind of old school, but when power goes through it and then it gets that ground from the closed circuit on the switch, it's going to give you a really shrill tone, much like this. Now we're also going to need to do a little wiring. It's sending a ground signal back and closing that signal, so black wire is probably appropriate, but any wire color will do, whatever you got. I've chosen 16 gauge wire. It's probably overkill, but I had to buy, a pretty big roll of it, and I'll probably use a lot of it later. Where's my thread sealant? I don't know where it is right now, but there's also thread sealant, or we don't want to put Teflon tape on these fittings. We want to coat them in some thread sealant, and that'll make sure that, we don't have any drips or leaks or sprays or whatever. And then I got some spade connector ends. You can use whichever ones you like, shielded, not shielded. I think I'm going to use these unshielded type and then probably just put some harness tape on them to finish it off. As for tools, we're going to need a wrench of a varying size. I'm gonna have to check and make sure this one is metric. We'll also need some wire strippers/cutters to, strip wire and make it all work. And we'll probably also need nearly everything else that's in the toolbox, but we'll figure it out as we go. Let me take you over to the car and we'll explain where the oil pressure sender is and how we're gonna take it out and replace it with that T. Okay, I've undone the oil pressure sending unit, and greasy as it is, it's still working properly, and now we've got our hole open down there so we can get the adapter and swing that in the port. I got you a look with the 360 camera now, and there'll be some wires kind of right in your way, but such is life. I'm gonna get my pipe sealant wherever the hell it is. Okay, so apparently I'm gonna stop everything and go elsewhere to my shop and get the Permatex 59214 thread sealant. That's what we're going to use to seal the threads going into the block for the adapter that we have. Shake her up, I guess. There it is. I'm going to just spread it out with my finger. I'm sure it doesn't cause cancer. At least not a lot of it. There we go. That should be enough. I don't know. The other one didn't have any on it and it was fine, so it's going to be fine. Now we plop it down in here. I'm going to use my metric one-size-fits-all wrench. Get it on the money, give it some turns. There we go. I feel pretty good about that. So now I'm going to take the old pressure sender and I'm going to give it the same dollop after I shake my man boobs around for a minute. Oh yeah, that looks much better. This is high temp sealant also, so it'll work up to 400 degrees. Which is good because oil gets hot. Now we can put that down in here as well. And that's screwing in nice. Much better than the adapter went into the block, honestly. There we go. Might be easier from under the car, but I'm not getting on the floor. Well, I've left myself with no room to turn that. Maybe, well, a little more. Okay, good. I like that. Also, if I didn't say it before, disconnect your battery before you do this. We'll just go ahead and plug that right back in. Ka-chonk. Nope. Ka-chonk. There it is. Sending unit's plugged in. Now we'll go grab our switch and get it plumbed in as well. One more time with the thread sealant. Shmoo it on. This is an exact science, by the way. I'm measuring. I'm doing this, you know, scientifically. No, it's all by feel and lack of understanding. There we go. That spins in nice. Gotta change my battery in the 360 camera because they're junk. I mean, it didn't used to be. You know, if you're, there's no way that you are, but if you're someone from Insta360, I'd love to have a new 360 camera. I use it all the time. Very valuable to me, but my old X1, 1X, whatever, it just dies on me constantly. Can't keep a battery charged. Okay, I found the wrench that fits. It's this one. If you're worried about your pretty finish on your new switch, then maybe don't use the channel locks. And good and tight. Okay. Now we have a place to put our wire. We're going to run into the cockpit of the car and hook up to the little light and buzzer. So, time to do some wiring. So I think what I'm going to do in this situation is take my roll of wire here and put it on the inside of the car, and then just try to find the place where the wires are going through in the firewall. There's a hole over here, a grommet, where I've got some wires tucked through for the MSD ignition. I'll bring it right through that hole and then come out this end and leave the spool inside the car because I don't know how much of it I'm going to need, but I can get it the length I need out to the switch, and then we'll worry about the inside. All right, you're joining me inside the vehicle here where you can see very clearly the hole that goes out through that grommet, and I'm going to take my black wire and I'm going to shove it through that hole. You might have to dig. There's always going to be some sort of plug up on the firewall that you can take out or that you can go around and shove your wire through. As long as it doesn't pinch and ground out, you're going to be fine. Roll the wire. Enters. And I can see daylight through my hole. That means I've got a really good grommet in there. And now my wire's, you know, out through there. Oh my God. Now I'll just pull on it and we'll watch the wire flop around as I get what I need out into the engine bay. Here's my wire. There's my spade. She fits real nice. Real nice like. I'm gonna bend it this way a little bit. Just keep it away from the hot block. Now we got more than enough wire, we can pull that back. I'm not gonna button anything up and zip tie it down until I know that I've got everything straightened away. So now that we've got it to that point, let's head back in the car and start figuring out how we're gonna wire this up to that switch. It's gonna involve removing the dash. And you know, I've done it so many times, I don't feel like showing. How about I just time lapse it? Here I am getting into the dash. If you have a 70s Celica, this is how you too can get into the dash. It's not easy or fun, but this is how we do it. So I'm hoping to not have to pull it all the way out and just be able to get into it enough to where I can put in this light and buzzer. Okay, I know it's a little dark in here, but I've got the dash pushed out now, and you can see the hole I'm going for there. It was the, used to be the wipers and washers, but I moved them down there some time ago because I thought I'd put a shift light up there. Now I'm going to put a much more valuable light than a shift light. I've got enough room now to get in behind the dash. I'm going to do that and see if I can get that light to stay there because this area of the dash is kind of torn out. So hopefully I don't have to make a bracket or something. I might have to figure out how I can get this thing to mount there. Let's get after it. So here's an unfortunate reality about the way that this dash is shaped. Do you see how it kind of cones in there? You can kind of tell all the other ones, you know, they kind of have this cone shape. So this one is coned in as well, and I've got the threads through, and it looks like it's going to look fantastic there. The only problem is, the only two things that I can attach it with are this nut that it came with, which is too big to turn in that cone-shaped hole, or this knurled collar, which I think that's what I want to do, but it's just going to take me some fiddling to get that on there. So I'm going to fiddle. Hopefully I can get that on there, and then when I do, I'll take it all back apart again so I can wire it back up. Jesus Christ. Let's ream it some more. I'm hoping that the knurled doodad will just cover it all up. I'll bring you up here once I have success. And I've dropped it. The opposite of success. Oh, I've got threads, y'all. Okay. I mean, with the collar on it, it looks a little goony. I'm not gonna lie. That's what we've got. And it's definitely a light, I mean, it's gonna... it's showing you that it is there to begin with, and it will light up and let you know that it is a light. So, you know what? It's there. And that's where it's going to stay. I thought about maybe putting it over here, but that's for the cigarette lighter, to light all my cigarettes. This is just basically race car, right? I mean, it does have a very classic, like, vintage look to it, so that's good, but it's not... it doesn't look OEM. Let's put it that way. Next move is to take it out of there and figure out how to wire it up. Okay, after being under here and ciphering on it for a while, I figured out what we need. This here is my wire, not very well put together, for the air-fuel ratio gauge. And it doesn't take a whole lot of amperage. And I've been running it off this power wire here, which is keyed power. Make myself a Y harness, male bullet connector to female bullet connectors. We'll bullet into this one, and then we'll make another wire that's a bullet to a spade, and it'll go on the back of the oil pressure light, which is up there. So I'm getting ready to wire up this simple little harness. I got my wire here, and I just wanted some bullet connectors so I can put on one male bullet and two female bullets and make a little Y. And what I have is one female bullet connector in this entire house and shop. One day they'll ask me on my deathbed, they'll say, Ian, do you have any regrets? And I'll say just one. I wish I would have been better at hiding crap from my kids. Okay, it turns out I can't do the hot side of the switch tonight, but I can do the ground side because we got that wire run. It's all the way in the cab, so I might as well run it over and plug that into the proper side of the switch. Which is the proper terminal on the switch? I really don't know. A wardrobe change, JK. It's the next day. I ran out of materials and etc., so I just went to bed. I'm looking to wire up the light and alarm today, and it's got these screw spade connector guys. I could just put a spade on there, but the right way to do this, I think, is to use the ring connector. And I'm gonna get a ring connector going on the ground side that I've already fished through the car and up through the dash and whatnot. I'll get myself a ring connector on that, and we'll be ready to go with ground on this. I kind of want to test this thing first, though, and see if there is a direction. I did it a certain direction before and it worked, but I'm wondering if you can do it either direction. Listen, me and electronics don't get along. Got this little bench tester here a couple of Christmases ago. It's come in handy a few times. You just flip her on and then set her to 12 volts. She's about there already. I'm gonna put the positive on this forward terminal, and then I'm gonna touch the negative to the back one. And it buzzes and lights up. And then I'm going to put the positive on the back terminal and put the... Oh, that's a much higher pitched buzz, isn't it? That's what we want. Okay. So this is going to be negative. That's going to be positive. Let's hear what the other way it sounds like again. Not as good. Maybe it's exactly the same. I don't know. I will reuse this old bullet connector on this wire. This is going to go into the car, the keyed power. It's going to come off of here, and it's going to Y to a bulleted or spade connector that'll go to my air-fuel ratio gauge, and then it's just going to get the ring connector on the other wire that's going to go to the new light and buzzer. I now have a Y harness. Let's go and put it in the car. Okay, wires in the car now. I've decided to leave the air-fuel ratio unplugged for the moment, but I'll get that plugged up after a while. And I ran the red wire up in basically the same location that I ran the black wire up for easy traceability later. And now all I got to do is put a hoop end on this, screw it onto this, and we'll see if this thing works. Whenever I turn the key, we should see that light and the buzzer come on immediately. So let's test that out. Yep. Oh, it's loud and obnoxious. That is awful. Light and buzzer, engage. Vehicle, contact. Yep. So there we go. We have oil pressure via the gauge still because the sender's hooked up, and we have our buzzer working, which will alert us to low oil pressure. Let's turn the car off but leave the accessory on, and then as the oil pressure falls, the buzzer should come on. There it is. Immediately. The gauge is still coming down, see? Look at it. The gauge is still reading down to 30 and etc., but that buzzer went off right away. This is exactly what we want. Everything works hot dang. Now, to put it all back together, just installation is the reverse of removal. But let's time-lapse our way through that, and then we'll check and make sure everything works when it's in the dash. All right, well, it wasn't zero effort, but it's all done now and cleaned up, and dash is back in, and I think we're better for it. So let's do our final test. Grab the key here, give it a turn, and we should hear the loud buzzer. Oh yeah, see the light? Yeah, and now we go all the way. She goes off because we got oil pressure. Good. Turn it back to accessory. Should turn back on. There it is. That's all working. The other thing was I fixed my dash lights while I was in here, and they're glowing nice and green now and hopefully won't turn off while I'm driving down the road. That's good. So that's it. I hope you've learned something. How it might be decent to install a oil pressure light and switch in your own vehicle. Protect your investment of time and money in your engine, and make sure it's not going to blow up on you. In the near future, I'm giving Dale an AccuSump system. More accurately, it's a Moroso oil accumulator. It's not the officially branded AccuSump. It's better because it's Moroso. Not a sponsor yet. Like and subscribe. Come back and watch that one real soon. And you know what? Do yourself a favor. Install this light and buzzer in your car, because if nothing else, it's at least a big red button on the dash, and I guess you pull a boomer joke and you tell people that it's an ejector seat. Do that, and then get out there and find your own apex, because it's better late than never. Now, if you'll excuse me, not only is it hot as balls in here, but there's a storm a-coming. And the little dog inside, he don't like the boom boom monsters. So I'm gonna go protect him. That's my job. Big tough man. Protect tiny dog from scary boom booms.